Hello there guys, welcome to one of my videos. So, just going to give you some breaking news regarding Paul Pogba. Then I'm going to be talking with you a bit more about Jadon Sancho. So, the news is on Paul Pogba. Paul Pogba has dropped a huge hint regarding his future. And he has posted a tweet on social media saying that there will be a big announcement tomorrow. So I presume that will be Paul Pogba signing a new contract with Manchester United. So obviously, reflects on this, Paul Pogba has put a lot of Manchester United fans into meltdown. We need to get Paul Pogba a new long-term contract at the football club anyway to end the uncertainty over his future. Obviously, a couple of weeks before the season finished, it said that Paul Pogba was close to signing a 5-year contract with Manchester United. Fabrizio Romano, who's a very reliable Italian journalist, he came out recently and said that Paul Pogba's happy at Manchester United, and he said that he wants to stay at the club, and he said that Man United will enter negotiations with Pogba's agent Mini Raiola over getting him a new contract at the football club. I think, by the way, in this tweet, he's put some eye emojis on as well. But as it stands at the moment, Pogba's got a year left on his Manchester United contract, or is it just under a year? But the club do have an option to extend it for a further year. Now, Solskjaer was talking a lot about Paul Pogba recently, saying that, Pogba wants to stay at Man United, and Solskjaer believes he'll end up signing a new contract at the football club. Like I said, for the vast majority of the Premier League season, didn't really have a perception on Pogba because obviously he was out with that ankle injury for a long time. Pogba has sustained quite a few injuries as a Manchester United player. But I thought towards the end of the Premier League season, when he came back, he did make a fantastic impact. And I think his combination with Bruno Fernandes has also been very, very good. He also did very, very well in the game against Copenhagen yesterday. I thought he pulled the strings off well in the midfield. He won some vital headers. He was very, very creative. And Paul Pogba is a world-class midfielder. Don't forget, at one point it was looking very imminent that Paul Pogba was going to be leaving the football club. Obviously, was it around this time last year? Paul Pogba said he wanted to leave Manchester United because he was seeking for a new challenge. Don't forget, last year Paul Pogba was relentlessly linked to the move to Real Madrid. Not only that, there was a lot of narratives about him going back to Juventus. Obviously, Paul Pogba did endure 4 good years with Juventus. Also, too, PSG and Barcelona were in for him before, and so too were Inter Milan. So he has had a long-running transfer saga. Pogba's agent Mini Raiola, don't forget, was very critical of Solskjaer and Manchester United earlier on this year. And reflects on that, Manchester United were very, very critical of Mini Raiola. But Mini Raiola, Pogba's agent, has been in the process of trying to get his client to transfer away from Man United, at least in the last couple of years. But as it stands at the moment, Paul Pogba is our most expensive signing. We did pay £89 million for him. And don't forget, Paul Pogba so far has won 2 trophies at the football club, and that was the Europa League and the League Cup in his first season. That was under Jose Mourinho. Don't forget, Paul Pogba endured a very, very difficult time under the Jose Mourinho era. But obviously, all our top players endured difficult time under the Mourinho era because Mourinho has got a bad reputation with top players. And don't forget, we had Paul Pogba when he was a lot younger under the Alex Ferguson era. But obviously, we had to let him go due to limited appearances. We let him go on a free transfer to Juventus. So, yeah, his contract extension could be announced tomorrow, according to Paul Pogba. So this is a very, very positive news from a Manchester United perspective because we know how imperative it is to keep him at the club, because obviously we know that we'd find it hard to find a replacement of Paul Pogba's, calibre and that. And we said earlier on this year, if we would have sold Paul Pogba, we'd have wanted over £100 million for the player, without a shadow of a doubt. So yeah, that is the breaking news on him. Now, I want to give you some news on Jadon Sancho. So reportedly Manchester United have not give up on the signing of Jadon Sancho, so the chase is still on for the player. Now, obviously yesterday, Jadon Sancho boarded a plane to Dortmund's training camp in Switzerland. And obviously, reflects on that, a lot of Manchester United fans, thought Jadon Sancho's move to Manchester United was officially off. I think it is, it could still be off, but there's still a slight chance that we could get him on the board. Obviously, we've missed out on the deadline to sign him because obviously, the deadline was yesterday. Don't forget, Borussia Dortmund's sporting director, Michael Zorg, he's come out and said that Sancho will stay at Borussia Dortmund, and he said the decision is final. And he says, that he will be part of Dortmund for next season, and he's very convinced that he will not join Manchester United in this summer transfer window. Michael Zorg also mentioned that Sancho secretly extended his contract until 2023. So these are the comments he has said. Borussia Dortmund CEO came out, was it the other week, and he denied that Manchester United were in advanced talks to sign Sancho. Obviously, Fabrizio Romano, who's a very reliable Italian journalist and is close to United, he still believes that Sancho to Manchester United is on. Because obviously, was it last week, it was looking very, very imminent that we was going to be signing Jadon Sancho, and it was looking very imminent it was going to be our first signing in this summer transfer window, because Fabrizio Romano came out and said that negotiations between Manchester United and Borussia Dortmund were at an advanced stage. And he also said that Sancho agreed personal terms with Man United, and it said he was going to sign a 5-year contract with the football club worth around £340,000 a week. And we obviously we're very convinced that Sancho wants to come to Manchester United. And I've already outlined the reasons why I want to get Sancho, because he's got a very, very good friendship with Rashford, and he would dramatically improve us, and he is, of course, predominantly a right winner. Now, like I've said to you, throughout the course of this Jadon Sancho transfer saga, it has been Borussia Dortmund's asking price that has been the stumbling block, because Borussia Dortmund have remained ruthless over their valuation. They have said that they want over £100 million. We have said several times we are not willing to pay what they're demanding. Obviously, Dortmund's valuation has been around £108 million. Dortmund have been looking for like £90 million up front. Obviously, if this was to be paid, then obviously Sancho would be our most expensive signing, and he would be the most expensive British player in history. But I think we're looking to pay around £60 or £70 million up front for the player. But like I said, there's quite a few journalists that have spoken about this Jadon Sancho transfer saga. Not only Fabrizio Romano, Christian Falk has spoken about it a few times. Simon Stones from the BBC, he's spoken about it from a few times. But obviously, talks have recently broken down due to Borussia Dortmund's valuation. Now, Sancho has endured 3 years with Borussia Dortmund. And I've got to say, since his arrival in Germany, he has been a revelation. Borussia Dortmund did pay £8 million for Jadon Sancho from Man City back in £8 million back in 2017. He was from Man City, yeah. So Dortmund actually got him for next to nothing. But analyse his performances in the few years he's been with Dortmund, his valuation has persistently grown. Dortmund is the third club in his playing career. We already made a promise to Sancho that, we are willing to offer him the number 7 if he does sign for the football club this summer, because I think he'd fulfil number 7 well, and obviously we've got number 7 vacant at the moment, but I think, we've had a lot of good number 7s up and down the generations. Obviously, we are looking at a few alternatives. There's actually quite a lot of alternatives we are looking at to Sancho. It recently says, we've been interested in Ousmane Dembele from Barcelona. It would be a much cheaper solution than Sancho. Also, too, we've been, looking at Douglas Costa from Juventus recently. We recently looked at Federico Chiesa from Fiorentina. Reportedly we put a bid in for him recently, but this was rejected. We looked at Rabbi Matondo from Schalke before. We looked at Thiago Almeida. We looked at Ferran Torres at one point from Valencia. So we have looked at quite a few alternatives. Kingsley Coman, he's another one. We've actually inquired about getting Kingsley Coman on loan from Bayern Munich, but Dortmund, did come to accept the fact that obviously, Sancho, does want to leave. So obviously, for a while, Dortmund have been looking for replacements for him. Dortmund have recently been looking at Memphis Depay from Lyon. They were looking at Rashica from Werder Bremen the other week. And there was also looking at Jonathan Eacock from Lille the other week as well. But I think Dortmund are now convinced that Sancho will stay, and they now insist that he's not for sale. They said he was only up for sale until the 10th of August and that. But actually, Sancho to Manchester United should have been made official last Friday. We all expected it to be announced last Friday, but obviously it wasn't. So, but personally speaking, I don't think Sancho is worth what Dortmund are demanding. I think at the tops he's probably worth about 70 or 80 million pounds. But definitely no more news will update regarding him, definitely. Just want to also give you some news regarding Chris Smalling. I think I give you the news regarding Chris Smalling this morning after I did my match reaction for the Man United Copenhagen game. So according to reports from the Italian press, they are saying that Inter Milan are interested in Chris Smalling. So reportedly, Chris Smalling could become the fourth Manchester United player to join Inter Milan in 12 months. Because obviously, Inter Milan have already signed 3 players from us. Obviously, they got Ashley Young back in January. Obviously, they got Lukaku from us last summer. And recently, they got Alexis Sanchez from us on a free transfer. I think we want around £23 million for Chris Smalling. Not only Inter Milan are in for him, Roma are still interested in him. Chris Smalling did recently return to the football club because obviously, he has been out on loan with Roma. Chris Smalling did go out on loan to Roma last summer. Roma paid around a £2.7 million fee to get him on loan. Did very, very well throughout his loan spell with Roma. And I thought Roma was going to get him permanently. But obviously, or extend his loan. But obviously, Roma did fail to extend his loan. Solskjaer did say that, Smalling does have a long future with Man United, and he said, he was in regular contact with Smalling whilst he was out on loan with Roma. But Chris Smalling's been a long servant at Manchester United. He has enjoyed around 9 or 10 years with the club. We did actually, get him from Fulham back in 2010. So that is the breaking news on Chris Smalling. But the summer transfer window has now been open, over a week. And obviously, we've already seen signings that have been made. Liverpool, I think, have made their first signing this summer transfer window. They signed, to Seekmas for around £13 million. I apologise if I've pronounced his name wrong. I think they are closing in on getting Thiago from Bayern Munich, so that's going to be their second signing this summer transfer window. Obviously, you've got Arsenal. I think they've got Willian on a free. You've also got Chelsea. They've done very, very good recruitment so far. They got Hakim Ziyech back in February from Ajax for around 37 or 38 million. They got Werner from RP Leipzig. I think they are now closing in on getting Kai Havertz from Leverkusen. I think they're probably going to end up signing Kai Havertz. Manchester City, they've brought some good players in so far. They just recently signed Ferran Torres for around 27 million. They also got Nathan Ake from Bournemouth for around 41 million pounds, and I think they also signed another player. So signings, have been made so far. But obviously, my club Man United have got to start making signings in this summer transfer window. I think we are gonna recruit well. because obviously, we got qualification for the Champions League, and I did say, didn't I, the importance of Champions League qualification for attracting players, for our players in general, and for the financial structure. I think we've got an extra £70 million in revenue for obviously, getting qualification for the Champions League. Solskjaer's already outlined his transfer plans, and he has instructed our board to go and get his preferred targets. And Solskjaer, I think, has said he wants Manchester United to make at least 3 signings in this summer transfer window. I think Ed Woodward's said, he wants Man United to make around 3 or 4 signings in this summer transfer window, because obviously Solskjaer and that wants to overhaul the Manchester United squad. Obviously, he wants to improve us. Obviously, so far Solskjaer has made 4 permanent signings at the football club and spent just over £200 million, in 3 transfer windows. This summer transfer window, Solskjaer's 4th transfer window as Man United manager. But, there is so many players on our agenda, and Solskjaer's identified the areas in the squad where he does want to strengthen up. And I think we have got around £140 million to spend in this summer transfer window, so that should get us a couple of signings. But these big decisions to be made in this summer transfer window, what type of players we're going to bring in, and obviously, we've got to decide on what players we are going to get rid of, because quite frankly, there's still deadwood at the football club. I think in this summer transfer window, we'll be looking to get rid of Jesse Lingard. He did recently say that we have put Jesse Lingard up for sale. I think it mentioned that Everton were interested in him. Prior to the game against Copenhagen, Lingard scored in his past 2 games for the club. He scored in the game against Lask, and he scored in the game against Leicester on the final day of the Premier League season. And that goal against Leicester was actually Lingard's first goal for Man United since Solskjaer's first game in charge. So that just indicates how inconsistent he's been. He's been at the club for several years as Lingard, and Solskjaer is an admirer of the player, because obviously he coached Lingard as a youth player. Lingard has got just under a year left on his Man United contract, but the club have an option to extend it for the further year. I also expect us to get rid of Andres Pereira, because obviously Andres Pereira doesn't get in the team a lot now. I also expect us to get rid of Rojo. Well, I want us to get rid of Rojo. By the way, I think Rojo has returned to Manchester United, because don't forget, recently has been out on loan with Estudiantes. But there's no point in us keeping Rojo, because he won't be assured to get in the team. I don't really know how he did at Estudiantes. Didn't really watch him. We did get Rojo back in 2014 from Sporting Lisbon. I think we did pay around, was it £16 million for him. Rojo's made 122 appearances for Man United in all competitions, and I think his current contract does expire next year. Phil Jones, I'm hopeful that we can get rid of him, because he doesn't really get in the team a lot now anyway. Phil Jones at the moment has got a knee injury. Phil Jones, he's endured 9 years at Manchester United. He is now approaching his 10th year at the football club. Phil Jones has been with us since the Alex Ferguson era. I also want us to get rid of Diego Dalot, because I don't think Diego Dalot is good enough to represent Man United. I don't think he gets in the team enough. Obviously, he's made 11 appearances for us in all competitions this season. Obviously, I think he only made 1 start in the Premier League. He had back-to-back injuries as well earlier on in the season. We did get Diego Dalot in Jose Mourinho's final transfer window. We got him from Porto for £19 million. Obviously, Dalot's got a contract of us until 2023. Recently said that Everton are interested in him, and Everton believe that they can get Dalot for around £10 million. One matter, I think he will stay at Manchester United in this summer transfer window. He'll be here for next season. Because like I've said to you before, I don't think, Juan Mata gets in the team enough now. But besides the point, when he does get given a chance, he does make an impact. And he's done well in the Europa League so far. Made a fantastic impact when he came on against Copenhagen yesterday. Also got both of the assists in our 2-1 win against Lask. And this has been Juan Mata's 6th year at Manchester United. And He's made over 200 appearances for the club in all competitions. I think he scored 50 odd goals. We did get Juan Mata back in 2014 from Chelsea. We got him for just under £40 million. We're also going to loan players out, I think. Just some news regarding Heath Chong. He's reportedly set to join Werder Bremen on a 2-season loan. He needs to go out on loan to get regular first team football because, quite frankly, at Man United, he isn't getting in the team enough. I think he's only made 12 first team appearances for the club, and he made his debut against Reading in last season in the FA Cup. When we did beat them by 2-0. Back in March, Chon had signed a 2-year deal with the club, so that keeps him under contract with the club until 2022. He's already turned down moves from clubs across Europe, but I think Heath Chong's agent has confirmed that he does want to go to the Bundesliga. James Garner could possibly be loaned out. Dylan Levitt, he's another one. Some Man United fans will say, we need to loan Tuanzebe and Fosu out. I think there's a possibility chance that Daniel James could also go out on loan. Because obviously, towards the end of the Premier League season, Daniel James was obviously, not getting enough starts, was he? Mason Greenwood was getting there ahead of him. But I think overall, Daniel James enjoyed a very, very good season in the Premier League for Man United. Personally speaking, I think Solskjaer overplayed him. James played 30-odd games for us in the Premier League throughout the course of this season. But he was a cheap solution because we got him from Swansea last summer for £15 million. But yeah, Man United are definitely, going to loan players out. Solskjaer's also got a goalkeeping decision to make. Like he said prior to the game against Copenhagen, he said, Solskjaer, that he has got a tough decision to make on 3 of our goalkeepers, and he doesn't expect, De Gea, Romero, and Dean Henderson to all be at the football club for next season. I think, personally speaking, Solskjaer needs to put Dean Henderson as our number 1 goalkeeper for next season, because I think Dean Henderson has now got that experience behind him. He's enjoyed 2 successful loans with Sheffield United, and he has been Sheffield United's player of the season. Dean Henderson has got a contract with Sheffield United until 2022. He recently said that we'd offered Dean Henderson a new deal with around £60,000 a week. But Solskjaer was talking about Dean Henderson recently, and he said that he doesn't think Dean Henderson is yet ready to become our number 1 goalkeeper. But Dean Henderson's made it blatantly clear that if he isn't assured to be number 1, then he wants to leave Manchester United, quite frankly. Sergio Romero, I think, he's another player that's probably going to leave Man United in this summer transfer window, because when we do recall Dean Henderson from his loan, if he comes back, then obviously, Romero will be our 3rd choice goalkeeper. De Gea, he's been our number 1 for several years, but I think he's now a liability, and I think he's been a liability in the last couple of years, reflecting on his calamitous mistakes. Like I said to you before, De Gea's had 7 good years out of the 9 years he's been at Manchester United, and De Gea is now approaching his 10th year at the football club. Like I said, Solskjaer's still got some contract decisions to make, because we've got around 7 or 8 players' contracts that are due to expire next year. So you've got to make a decision on them. But to be fair, we have extended a lot of players' contracts since Solskjaer got recommended into the football club. So that's obviously a positive. But, I think, so far this season, Solskjaer's exceeded expectations. Obviously, got us qualification for the Champions League. Also finished 3rd, which was a good achievement. Also, we have now progressed to 3 semi-finals. We progressed to the EFL Cup semi-final. We also progressed to the FA Cup semi-final. And now we have progressed to the Europa League semi-final. Obviously, we've reached our 2nd European semi-final since the Alex Ferguson era. But, like I said to you, the Europa League is a priority for us. I think it's very imperative that Manchester United do win it. Because if we do win it, what will happen is it will be our first trophy under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. And also it will be our first trophy in over 3 years. And Solskjaer did recently say winning the Europa League as Manchester United manager would be one of my greatest achievements. So it would surpass 1999. But we know we've got in the semi-finals. We do play the winners of Wolves and Sevilla, don't we? But yeah, and you saw my match reaction recently, didn't you? For the Copenhagen game. Weren't the best of performances in the first half, but I thought the second half, really improved. Don't forget the game did go to extra time, but Bruno Fernandes has scored the penalty in extra time. Again, Solskjaer didn't go over his strongest lineup, and like I said, when we don't go over strongest lineup, we do seem to struggle. We really do. We weren't fantastic yesterday. We got taken to extra time. Weren't great in the game against Lask in the second leg. We weren't good against Norwich in the FA Cup quarter-finals, when we didn't play our best team. Weren't good against Chelsea in the FA Cup semi-final when we didn't play our best team. But it seems to me when we go with our strongest 11, we seem to put a performance out. But, throughout the course of this season, Solskjaer has made a lot of rotation, but that's reflects on the injuries that Man United have had. Because we have had a lot of injuries throughout the course of the season. Don't forget, there was a period where Solskjaer went with the exact same team for 5 Premier League games in a row. And that's the first time we've done that since February 1993. So that's like 27 years ago now. But obviously, the big test for Solskjaer is next season, because next season he knows he will have bigger expectations to exceed. I think our expectations next season will be to challenge for the Premier League title. Because like I said to you, we haven't won the Premier League since 2013. Last time we won it was in Alex Ferguson's last season. We want to be up there competing with the likes of Manchester City and Liverpool. But like I said, Solskjaer deserves at least another season at Man United, because it is a transition period, and it has been a transition period for a while. Like I said, Solskjaer's inheriting players even from the Mourinho era. He's still inheriting a few players even from the Van Gaal era. There's Matty from the Moyes era, and there's still a few players even from the Ferguson era, but actually the vast majority of this team is Jose Mourinho's and all of that. And, in the last 7 years or so, we have been very inconsistent. There's main explanations, though, why we have been inconsistent. That's because there's been a lot of cultural problems at the club. Obviously, we've had different managers with different philosophies, but obviously, none of them managers were the right managers for Man United. I also think, there's been a lot of problems with the club's ownership, the Glazers for several years. There's been a lot of problems with Ed Woodward. There's also been a lot of problems with the club's board. Our recruitment policy's been poor for so long. And, we have recruited a good 32, 33 players in, maybe more, since Alex Ferguson's retirement and that. But like I've said to you, I have seen improvements under Solskjaer. We've seen an upturn in form since January. We haven't lost in the league since Burnley. We are unbeaten in our last 14 league games. Don't forget we did go out on the 19-game unbeaten run in all competitions. And, this has been our best vein of form since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer first came into the club. Our recruitment's improved under him, like I mentioned. Solskjaer's promoted the youth very, very well. And Solskjaer has been here for quite some time now. He has been at the football club over a year and a half. But like I've said to you, we haven't dominated English football since the Ferguson era. Obviously, Ferguson endured 26, 27 years at Man United and endured over 20 odd years of success. But Ferguson didn't settle in straight away, don't forget, because Ferguson didn't win out in his first 4 years at the football club. So obviously, it took him time to settle in. But we won a total of 38 major honours under Ferguson, including 13 Premier League titles. But like I said to you, it's going to be hard for anybody to replicate Ferguson's legacy at the club, and it's going to be hard for someone, to last as long as Alex Ferguson did. But there you go. So anyway, guys, that's everything to update you today on this video. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.